Gang, for over a year now, I've been talking about True Hemp Science full spectrum CBD oils and how they've reduced my anxiety and helped me get better sleep without waking up feeling foggy and confused. I've also talked about the full spectrum CBD bombs that relieved my hand pain last year and made playing piano and guitar much easier. Well, gang, today I'm going to tell you about True Hemp Science organic gummies made with full spectrum hemp oil that are available now. They come in two different gauges. There are 50 milligram ones that have 50 milligrams of CBD and 1.5 milligrams of THC. Then there are ones that are 100 milligrams of CBD and 5 milligrams of THC. Absolutely delicious lemon lime / orange flavors and also watermelon black cherry flavors. Super, super delicious. Now, they also have a complete line of full spectrum CBD products, including oils, tinctures, skincare lotions, sports rubs, chocolates, gummies, all kinds of stuff. Well, gang, How Did I Get Here has teamed up with True Hemp Science to bring you a very special offer that benefits all of us. Spend $100 or more at truehempscience.com and you will get a free gift. Just enter the code HDIGH at checkout. There's a little code placed there for you to enter it, HDIGH, and you will get a free gift with purchase. That's right. Go to truehempscience.com and balance your body and mind with True Hemp Science. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
Right, hello, I'm Johnny, I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys all had a good weekend, whatever it is you did this weekend. And if you live in Austin or the surrounding area, I hope that you got your power back on in a timely fashion. I hope your property was not destroyed by falling limbs and stuff. That was really, really crazy. It's insane that we live in a modern time and you know that winter is coming every year. But now when it does, it totally takes us out of commission. There was no school Tuesday through Friday. I'm doing this show on Monday afternoon, and there's still like tens of thousands of people without power. When I put out Friday's show, I had done the intro on Wednesday morning just to make sure that I'd gotten it done, and there was a lot of people without power at that point, but it spread. Like throughout Wednesday in the afternoon, by Thursday, it was completely insane. There was like so many people without, like over 250,000 people without power. I played in San Antonio on Friday. Trish and Darren and a couple of other people did not have power, but Trish and Darren, I know, didn't have power and they were going home to dark houses, even on Friday. That's insane, man. It's insane. It's insane that it's 2023. We know winter's coming and that yet once every year or two, we get completely obliterated by a simple winter storm. Like that was actually a winter storm. That's all that was a winter storm. And it just knocked us out of commission for a week. So many people. It was weird because when we played in San Antonio, it really hadn't been hit. San Antonio didn't really get hit by it. So anyway, that show, it was fun playing that show in San Antonio on Friday. I feel like there was a sense of relief, in some of the people in the band. I don't think San Antonio was really hit. I talked to some people up there, and I think that it did not hit San Antonio like it hit Austin. But I think some of the people in the band were just relieved to get to be out and playing and doing the thing again, and like going to a normal place, getting out of the dark, out of the silence. That's the part that gets me. When my power didn't go out, I'm really lucky. So, but when the power went out in the Snowpocalypse 2021. What killed me was the fact that my ears ring like crazy from years of rock and roll. Years of performing rock and roll, years of headphone shit, years of studio shit, years of live stuff, being super loud. And so when all the power goes off, you don't realize that just your refrigerator running or just the general sound and hum of electricity going through your house kind of cancels out some of that ringing. But when it goes totally silent, dude, it can almost keep you awake. It's almost deafening. Because not only is it, this is what happens, is you spiral into this sort of like neurotic freak out because you're going deaf. You're like, oh my God, this is so loud. Oh my God, I'm going deaf. How long do I have before I have to wear ear? You know what I mean? Before I have to wear, the ear things that people wear. Not earbuds or earplugs, but, hearing aids. How long before I have to put some hearing aids in? How long before my hearing totally goes? Insane, man. Insane. Anyway, I hope that you got your electricity back on. I hope you're back to normal. I hope you're doing the thing. I had a great time in San Antonio playing. It was a beautiful weekend, beautiful weather. Rosie and I spent a lot of that time outside playing, having a good time. You guys know I work with Austin Music Foundation with their artist development program, and we've been making an album for the last couple of months and doing 2 songs with each of the artists that we have, each of the 6 artists. And this weekend was Sarah Hauser at the Bubble, and that was great. She's just an amazing band, this fantastic bass player. Gina, my old friend Eric playing drums, Taylor Wilkins on the guitar being amazing. And of course, Sarah Hauser, just amazing. And Frenchie and Brett over there at the Bubble. It's sad that it's over. That's the end of that recording. The record's over. We're getting mixes. It'll be coming out soon. I will let you know. I'll probably be talking to a few of the artists about their experience in the program this year. And get some ears on that record. I'd love for you guys to hear it. These are some incredible artists. We had Grace Sorensen, Jake Lloyd, The Dead Coats, Poet Hawkins, Sarah Hauser, and I think that's it. There might be more. I don't know. If you want to find out more about it, go to austinmusicfoundation.org for more information on it. Look up their artist development program. You'll find out what's going on there. All right, gang. I've had enough to say because I have a giant show for you guys today. Today, gang, I have a doubleheader, an international doubleheader. That's right, gang. I'll be talking to Slovakian avant-garde jazz guitar player David Kollar. Now, this guy is amazing. I got an email from, do you know who Pat Mastelotto is? He's the drummer from King Crimson. He was the drummer in Mr. Mister. He plays in tons and tons of super interesting, very avant-garde, very progressive music, very prog. He's a prog cat. And he lives here in town, and I'm really been old friends with his wife, Deborah, for a long time. She reached out and she was like, hey, Pat's got this guy, David Kollar. Look him up. He's really cool. And then she looped Pat in on the email, and Pat was like, yeah, man, check this dude out. You should get him on the podcast. So today I'll be talking to Slovakian guitar player, innovative, avant-garde jazz guitar player, David Kollar, who has a band. He does tons and tons of collaborations. And he scored, and he's done the scoring and soundtrack of 18 films. He's won tons of awards. He's done a bunch of collaborations. In fact, he's always doing collaborations with different people. And he was in town doing a collaboration with Pat Mastelotto that goes under the name Komara. I will play a song from that for you. Now, his music is like a combo of Eastern European classical influences, jazz, ambient music, and techno. Now, he does a ton of stuff with electronic instrument. He uses technology as an instrument. He has his stuff up there and he loops stuff and he has a lot. He's a younger guy. He's 37. Most Guitar Hero guys at this point are pretty old, my age or even older. You know what I mean? But he's embraced technology in a way that I've really not seen a lot of people do that with. So I'll be talking to David Kollar. He's a Slovakian avant-garde jazz guitar player. You can find him at davidkollar.com. But before I talk to David Kollar, I will be talking to Mitch Galbraith from Australian, what I would say is a modern yacht rock band. That's honest to God truth. I think it's like psychedelic yacht rock, modern psychedelic yacht rock from Australia called Ocean Alley. They have a brand new album called Low Altitude Living. Now they've done 2 tours of the U.S. in the last year. And they did a show back in a couple months ago at the Parish here in Austin. Maybe you saw them. They will be coming back to Austin and to Dallas in August. We talk about that during the show. But you can find Ocean Alley at oceanalley.com.au. So before we talk to David Kollar, the incredible ambient avant-garde jazz guitar player, I talked to Mitch Galbraith about living in the northern beaches of New South Wales in Australia. They're definitely a beach band. I talked to the dude. The band was on holiday at this beach place, but they've been really busy. They played 83 shows like in the last year in Australia, UK, Ireland, New Zealand, the USA, Canada, Europe. They just played a couple festivals in New Zealand before I talked to them. And they had a couple of really huge years. 2018 and 2019, the band ascended into this popularity and started really going worldwide and doing really well. And then, of course, they were shut down by the pandemic. But they've come back post-pandemic stronger than ever with this incredible record, Low Altitude Living. So, all right, before we talk to this great Slovakian guitar player, David Kollar, I talked to Mitch Galbraith from Australian psychedelic yacht rock band, Ocean Alley, about their album, Low Altitude Living, and about a bunch of other stuff. All right, here's me and Mitch chatting it up. Let's get down. Will it just be the two of us today?
It's just going to be the two of us, Johnny. I hope that's all right.
Just the two of us. Yeah, no. It's great.
You and I. You and I, mate.
You and I. Man, how are you doing? You guys just played a bunch of festivals and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We just played a festival a few days ago in Christchurch, New Zealand.
How's that?
It was really good. It was called Live at the Park, and it was like in the CBD there. And to be honest, for the last few days, we've been parked up on the North Island of New Zealand at a spot called Raglan, just having a bit of a surf holiday before the next show.
Oh, nice. What's your next outing?
Our next show is here in Raglan, actually, not very far from where we're staying, and it's called Soundsplash Festival. It's a long-running festival in New Zealand.
Oh, fantastic. So I guess it's summer there, so it's festival season.
Summer there, festival season. Yeah.
You guys were just in Austin like a few months ago, right? That's where I am. I'm in Austin, Texas. Yeah, you guys played at the Parish?
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, great fun. That whole tour was amazing. We were pretty blown away by how well it went, to be honest, considering all the stuff that had happened the years before. So, yeah, great time.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that this worked out, that we were able to talk, because a couple months ago when it fell through, I was bummed because I wanted to meet you guys, at least one of you guys from the band, because I really love your music a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, man. And I guess we can start where we were just talking about that you guys were stoked that it was such a successful tour. And when I was going through your stuff a while back, what really struck me was how well things were going for you guys right up until the pandemic, and how that could have been like a total career fuck, if you know what I mean. Yeah, totally. We were worried about that. Was probably the most nervous we've been during the whole period that the band's existed. I think we've been able to rely on everything else, rely on each other and rely on our relationship. But that was just something that was out of our control, and it was out of everyone's control. And that's what was the frustrating part about it, because, you know, we've tried our hardest to get where we are, and that was just something that, we couldn't do anything about. Yeah. Well, and you know that it's not even just how much you try. I'm a musician as well, and it's not how much you try. It's like how much shit actually has to line up for you outside of your own control for you to fucking go. And you guys were going, and then it just stopped. But thank God it picked back up, man. I'm very happy for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we're glad that we had the ability to ride that out, and I think we were smart about it. I remember we had all the touring lined up, and then we kind of just decided pretty quickly that we'd postpone the events and ask people to hold on to tickets. And we were also trying to figure out how we're going to fit in time to write write the new record in that year as well. And so as soon as the touring was on hold, we just pivoted straight towards writing and kind of just at least there was something we could focus on in that.
Yeah. How do you write as a band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we mostly tinkering by ourselves, and then we like to write as a group together in the same room. So it was easier when we were living closer together, and just when we were teenagers, every afternoon we'd get together and do that. But these days we just organise time, like a week somewhere in a different Airbnb near the beach, so we can sort of relax and get away from distractions. And then it's the exact same chemistry that we've done forever, really.
Yeah. You look like a dude that surfs. And I mean that in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, we've just been surfing this morning. This is a world-class surf break here, and the last 4 times we've been to Raglan, there's been zero surf. And this morning was good. It was smaller, but yesterday was some of the best waves we've gotten in our lives.
Wow.
We were getting rides that were half a mile long for a minute.
Shit,
along
that's
the point.
Awesome.
It was good fun. So we're stoked. Everyone's happy. Yeah. And we're parked up in a lodge filming some video clips and stuff in our spare time. Yeah.
Yeah. You're from the northern beaches of New South Wales. That's obviously a beach place, right? So you guys are beach people.
Yeah. We grew up on the northern beaches of Sydney and in a place called Newport and Mona Vale. And we've since moved to a place a bit confusing. It's far north New South Wales, right on the border from New South Wales and Queensland. They call it the Northern Rivers, and we're in a place called Byron Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we're living now.
What's the population there at Byron Bay? Like, just to give you a general idea of where you live, like in the middle of nowhere.
Getting more and more, but it's a regional centre.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say it's not a city.
Okay.
It's more of a beach. It's a farming town turned surfing town, and now it's suffering a bit of the yuppies coming in from the cities these days. So it's getting busier and busier, that's for sure.
Yeah. Most of those places do. And then all of a sudden it's like some overrun place with the fucking Starbucks.
You can't blame them. It's paradise. Yeah.
All right. A couple of things. A couple of things. One is in your music gets called surf rock a lot, psychedelic surf rock. So what I'm going to ask you is surf rock in Australia what we call yacht rock here? Because surf rock to me is like the Ventures,
Beach Boys.
Yeah.
The Antics.
Yeah, and yacht rock has a more laid back feel. You guys have a laid back, like you're not trying like that. All that stuff like Wipeout, like it all has this urgency of like I gotta go somewhere. But y'all's is like a little more like some dude smoking weed on a fucking sailboat, like with a beautiful lady.
I think I don't know if Australians like use the term yacht rock as much as Americans, and so that's probably why we've just been called surf rock.
Yeah.
I swear I've told people when they say what style of music do you play, and I say yacht rock, and they just go, what? Like people haven't heard that genre name.
Okay. I mean, here in America, it's definitely, there's a whole, like we have a very definitive idea of what that is.
Yeah, okay. I think it's less so in Australia. So some people do know and others don't. And it's just an easy sort of classification to use, I guess.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because to me, one of the main things about yacht rock is the use of expensive chords that you bring from jazz and like, sophisticated R&B, like Stevie Wonder level R&B, like minor ninths and shit like that. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of that in your music. And then there's sometimes when it's funny because to me, you don't sound like a retro yacht rock. Like you don't sound like fucking Pablo Cruz, but there are pieces of Pablo Cruz in you. It's awesome. I mean, I think it's fucking awesome. I was telling my band about it today at rehearsal.
Yeah. We're just a mishmash of different tastes.
Yeah.
From guess because all six of us have really different tastes and all six have an equal input in the music making, then you get a bit of kind of everything in it. The bass player's always sort of going Black Sabbath route with fuzz and
yeah.
And so, like, you wouldn't think that would sit, you know, anywhere near yacht rock, but it does sometimes.
Well, hold on, I wrote that. The song "Perfume" is totally feels like inspired by 1978.
Yeah. We just like to have a groove, and I think music had a slower groove back in those decades.
Yeah, it did. There was a little bit more laid back, and that's what you guys have, which has that sort of like surfer mentality to me.
Yeah. Fast stuff's hard for us to do.
Yeah, it's funny.
We don't gravitate.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We don't gravitate towards the faster tempoed music. I don't think. Yeah.
No, but you know what's interesting to me, and I'm going to ask you this because when you put together this album, which is gorgeous and I love it, Low Altitude Living, were you guys looking at it as a side one and a side two? Because it really feels like there's a definitive break into a freak out of like, now there's like distorted guitars and now there's like.
I don't think we were thinking that when we wrote it, but when we had compiled all the songs that were going to be on the record and we went to do the order, I think we wanted to ease people into it a bit.
Yeah.
I think that was the conversation we were having, and we wanted to keep some of the sounds that maybe people hadn't heard us play before at the end, you know, after we'd warmed everyone up. I'm pretty sure that's what we were thinking then.
Yeah. You did a great job of that. Because listening to it as an entire album, which, you know, what's weird is like most people just don't listen to it, you know? Yeah. I mean, there are disparate differences in numbers on the songs as well, you know, which is just indicative of how people listen to music. But as somebody who's made albums, I did get that sort of like, wow, this definitely has like a flow to it. Where it's like, hey, just sit back and be cool. And then the second half is going to make you go like, whoa, like you guys take some serious left turns.
Yeah, it's nice hearing people say that because that's kind of what we were going for. And, you know, when any artist sort of aims or sort of has this intent and purpose, and then it's sort of, you know, they sort of see it realized in the audience, and then they get that feedback. They know that they've been successful, kind of thing. So,
right. What relation is Angus to you? Your brother?
No, Angus is a friend. The only brother, the only blokes with brothers in the band are myself and Lachlan, who plays keyboard.
Oh, Lachlan! Shit, man, I'm sorry. I was looking. Sorry. Yeah, my handwriting is bad. And okay, so Angus, what roles do you guys play? Like now that I've listened to the record, which guy are you?
Yeah, I play guitar. I play one of the guitars. Right,
and Angus, but you guys having two guitars must have some roles with each other.
Yeah. We swip around between lead and rhythm. So one will play more rhythm style, and the other will play more lead style. Angus tends to play lead more often, and he's the one interjecting with all the blues licks, and he's the one doing all the blues solos, and I'm doing some of the solos on the heavier tracks at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're like the
Baden's in the middle. Baden does the same. Baden does have these little lead riffs and stuff. He used to do them way more often in the older stuff. But yeah, so the three of us sort of just play between that, really. And a lot of the times Baden and I are playing the exact same chord, the exact same fingering at times, yeah.
That's the thing about like trying to have that, bringing out the dimension of the guitars within the band, like Lynyrd Skynyrd or Radiohead. I'm trying to think of bands with three guitar players.
Yeah.
Those are both very different, but they do have them.
That was the first, I remember when we before we even started playing gigs, when we were first playing in the shed, in the garage, that was the one thing that we had to focus on, was trying to distinguish, like pull those three guitars apart, and back then we weren't as good musicians. So there was a lot of just playing the same thing and just pushing this wall of chords out.
Right.
And so I remember that was the first thing we had to do is create space. And that's been a mission of ours ever since.
But it's really cool to be able, I mean, I always found that shit really fun. And there's like, there's a band that I love as an example of that is, are you familiar with Def Leppard?
Oh, not familiar, but I've heard of them. Yeah.
They're, no matter what you think of their music, like this stuff happening, one guy's on the right, one guy's on the left when you were in it on headphones.
Yep.
And they're definitely creating this beautiful world, like speaking to each other, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's just being aware of what the other players playing just as much as what you're playing yourself.
Yeah. So Mitch, where, like, how did you guys come together as a band?
Half of us were at high school. Baden, my brother Locke, and myself.
Okay.
The other half were at different schools, but we all lived in the same town and grew up, you know, going to parties and skateboarding and surfing and sort of just kicking around. And I guess we sort of gravitated towards each other somehow. And then we kind of started playing music together. We'd all sort of, everyone except for Nick had tinkered in music sort of in high school as we were young kids. Mm-hmm. So Angus was really proficient at playing guitar by then. He was a kid that spent a lot of time practicing and learning licks, and his dad sort of pushed him into that. And Baden's vocals were always pretty strong through high school. Locke
He's got a great voice.
Yeah. So he's always been singing and strumming on the guitar. And then we kind of met, and Nick was the last one to sort of pick up an instrument, and the only one that we needed was a bass player. So we said, why don't you learn bass? And he'd been tinkering around on 6 strings and stuff before. But yeah, and then he taught himself bass, and he's probably one of the best players in the group now.
Yeah, his feel is really great. That's why it's funny when you were saying like he was one of the last ones. I was like, oh, that's weird. And especially when you were saying he was into Sabbath, to me, it's like maybe that guy's been listening to some Isley Brothers or something.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the story. And then we would just hang out in the garage. Sort of was more just hanging out, and you know, we just kept playing more and more music, and we enjoyed playing together. And then after we learned the usual covers, some Neil Young and Bob Marley.
Okay. All right. I wanted to make sure I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Neil Young, Old Man was one of the first ones. Jimi Hendrix, Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then once we did that, we wanted to write our own music. And I remember it took ages before, this is hard to remember, but I think it did take ages of us playing covers and mucking around before we wrote a song that we were like, that's a proper song.
Yeah.
And I think that first song was called The Flood.
Okay.
And it's the only place it's on the internet is YouTube, and it's an acoustic version of the song. So I looking back at it, I still think it's a really good song, which is surprising.
Yeah.
And good enough that I think we should go back and try and do it again and put it on a record or something.
Wow. Isn't that funny? Like those innocent sort of like,
yeah,
just when you don't know what you're doing, it turns out to be, yeah. As a songwriter, I always try to find shit that I don't really know how to play, and try, because that gives me that excitement again of like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I did it, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I hate Zoom. Sorry. I really do.
Nah, I wasn't talking, I don't think.
Oh. Okay.
I'd much rather have this in person though, yeah. You're right.
Totally. So
we're coming back to the end of the year.
What's that?
we'll be back in the States at the end of the year. So
fantastic.
If we're around, we should meet up, and you should meet everyone.
I would love to, man. I really would. I really like. I think your band is amazing, and you can. Let me ask you this: in the recording of this record, like, was it done piecemeal, or were you guys able to all be in a room? And did you play it live? Because it feels very live.
We were all together when all the writing and demoing and recording was done, and the demos always sort of start with us playing live, but we had so much time with all the lockdowns and stuff that we just, and we'd done it before, but we overdubbed everything basically. I think the drums and we all played live in a room to get the drum and the bass take, and then we overdubbed guitars again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does feel live.
Yeah, when we write it, it's and we're playing it together in the rehearsal space.
Yeah,
we just keep that feeling and kind of carry it into the studio. Basically, like we're always trying never to lose that.
Yeah, there's something about that. Like I've always wanted. Do you know the Jackson Browne album, Running on Empty?
No.
Okay. Well, this is like a record like he wrote and recorded while he was on the road. So there's like songs recorded live on stage in front of an audience. Right. One's recorded at sound check. One's recorded in the back of the bus. Some in hotel rooms. And there's just this energy to that record. And there's an energy about your band when you come home from playing so many shows that it's almost like even as a singer, I don't have to warm up anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just always ready to fucking throw down. Yeah. And you come back just in your best fighting shape as a band. Yeah,
for sure. I think also when we're writing those, writing stuff, we're sort of frothing out on when we're going to be able to play this live.
Yeah.
Like we're looking down the track going, can't wait to finish this song, figure it out, and then eventually be on stage performing it.
Yeah.
That's a big driver for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you guys had like records out and you were playing, I spoke to a band from Australia and I can't remember what they were called. But do you know who Tim Ferriss? I think it was Tim Ferriss from INXS.
Yeah.
He's got a son, and his son had a band. I don't know.
Ferriss.
One of the Ferrisses. Maybe it wasn't Tim, because I know there's more than one Ferriss in INXS. But it was an INXS kid in a band, and they lived in Australia. But one of the things that they didn't really tour a lot, but it seems to me that it's difficult, like here in Texas and in America and stuff. Like I live in the heart of Texas. I can go 3 hours and be in Dallas, and go 1 hour and be in San Antonio, and then 2.5 hours and be in Houston. So I can tour realistically without like a deal in a van and stuff.
Yeah.
But then there are places like, is Australia not conducive to that sort of?
It kind of is. If you're in one of the major cities, there's probably a lot of venues you could go and play around. But if you're traveling to different cities, then no. And we used to drive ourselves 12 hours between Sydney and Melbourne.
Fuck.
We'd get work off the Friday, and we'd wake up at 4 a.m. and leave, and pull up in Melbourne at 6 p.m. and unload the car and play a show, and then drive home. Try and get 2 shows down there, and then drive home the next day and go to work. So you got to have the ability to do that if you want to tour in between cities. And flying when you're at that level is out of the question.
There's no way. Yeah.
Yeah. So you still have to have a capable vehicle that can drive for a whole day, and $400 in fuel. And we would drive down and play 2 gigs and make $500, $600, and just like it was barely enough to cover fuel, but we just used to put all that money away and save it for band expenses and go back to work and do our day job and then do it again the next weekend.
Shit. It's dedication, man. You know?
Yeah.
You got to really want to do it.
Of course. It was heaps of fun when we were doing it. So that's why we kept doing it.
Yeah. Are any of you guys like married now or anything like that? Or still just...
Yeah, it's all happening. The lead singer just had the arrival of his first kid.
Wow. Congratulations. He's got a band baby.
He's had a little girl, yeah. So the first band baby. But it's all happening now, and we're 30 years old, so...
All right. You guys are still really young.
Yeah, of course. We've actually just... few of our partners have just arrived for a couple of days holiday with us before the festival. So it's pretty cool that we're still able to do that and have them along now.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They've flown over to New Zealand to come to a few shows and hang out with us. So that's pretty special.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
That's really great. So when is it you said you're coming back to America in the fall? Will there be a new record in 2023, or you're still supporting low altitude living?
We'll probably still be supporting low altitude living. Like, we've got a big year coming up, and there was talk about getting a couple of demos down this year at least. So we're still just trying to find a week or two here and there.
Yeah,
and that'll just be another just to keep the ball moving and the momentum of that. There's a couple of the guys have said they've got some ideas, and we've heard some sort of pass some stuff around over emails just to get a sense of it, and then we'll just book a few weeks and get in there and see what happens, and then we could just leave that for another period of time as well while we finish off the year.
Yeah. Dude, that's great. Oh, hey, do you like The Church?
The Church?
Yeah.
haven't listened to much of The Church.
Okay. They're from, I guess they're still around, but they've been around since like 1981.
From
Australia.
From England?
No, from Australia.
From Australia?
Yeah. They have that song Under the Milky Way. Under the Milky Way tonight. I just had the guitar player from that band, but the guitar player was from Liverpool. But he was just on my show on Saturday. It comes out on Friday.
Yep. Yeah.
So he lived down there for a while.
You used to live down there?
No. He lived down there.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. I live in Texas. Well, man, I hope that I get to see you guys when you come later on in the year. And
for sure.
And maybe we can all meet up and have a beer or something.
For sure. I've just got the our dates up.
Oh yeah.
It says we're in Austin, Texas on the 11th and Dallas on the 12th.
11th of what?
Of August.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, I don't think that post has been released, but it says here they confirmed those dates. So if you're around there,
yeah, that's fantastic. You know,
that would be the move.
Yeah, will you be playing at the Parish again?
It says Antones.
Oh yeah, Antones. Yeah, I just played there.
And then in Dallas, Granada.
Oh yeah, Granada's great.
Yeah, so we're trying to do a run of bit bigger shows and sort of maybe less smaller towns along the way.
Yeah.
So we've got a pretty good run lined up. So like we're challenging ourselves again to sell the tickets.
Right.
But I think it's a step that we'll be able to manage.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, I'll do what I can to spread the word, and maybe we can do another one before you guys come down again. So
yeah,
get the word out again. I'll tell Bobby.
Yeah, good idea.
But Mitch, man, it's been really nice talking to you, man. I wish it could have been face to face, but I'm really glad that we got to do it. I'm a huge fan of your band, and I'm a huge fan of this record. Like it's.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for the support, man.
Do you before you go, do you listen to whole records in their entirety?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's important. Yeah.
It's gotten hard for me. Like I started. I do like when people send me their stuff and I have to talk to them about it. But in my own personal time, now that I'm listening on streaming services and shit, unless I put on like a vinyl record, a song will make me think of another song, and all of a sudden the ADHD kicks in, and I'm only listening to like after the first chorus of every song, I'm going to the next song. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. So
yeah, I think I'm just lazy enough to just put the first one on and let the artist tell me what I should be listening to, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mitch, it's been great meeting you, man. Everyone get out there and check out Ocean Alley on all the streaming services and stuff. I'll put links to their website and stuff. It's oceanalley.com.au, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's where you can get the dates. See him in Austin at Antone's on August 11th, Dallas at the Granada Theater on August 12th. All right, dude. Great meeting you, man.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Take care.
Soon.
Take care, brother. All right, that was Mitch Galbraith from Australian psychedelic yacht rock band Ocean Alley. Check out their album, Low Altitude Living. You just heard their song Home, a bit of that song Home. There's a great video for that, too. You can find them at oceanalley.com.au. What a great conversation. I really like that dude. I'm looking forward to meeting them in August, man. I like the way they talk, too. You're all right, mate? You all right, mate? I didn't tell him that, the way I have a comedian friend that told me the best way to practice your, there was a couple of words, the only ones I can remember. The best way to practice your Australian accent is to say Jennifer Lopez, because that's the word that's easiest to say in an Australian accent. You say it like this: Jennifer Lopez, Jennifer Lopez. You hear it? Jennifer Lopez, Jack. I call my Uncle Jack. I call him Jack. Hey, Jack. Hey, Jack. That's pretty good, right? Anyway, that was great talking to Mitch. Get out there and check out Ocean Alley. This album, Low Altitude Living, is fantastic. All right, gang, let's talk to this incredibly interesting Slovakian avant-garde jazz guitar player, David Kollar. You can find him at davidkollar.com. He was in Austin, even though we did this over Zoom. I think he was in Dripping Springs over at Pat Mastelotto's studio, talking about stuff. Of course, Pat Mastelotto, legendary drummer from bands like Mr. but mostly in the prog world with bands like King Crimson and many, many other bands. You can look them up if you want to. I want to thank Pat and his wife, Deborah, for setting this up, because I was really blown away. This guy's incredible. I really enjoyed talking to David. I'm sure you will too. I think he was in town doing a record, Komara, a new Komara record with Pat Mastelotto. I will play you a song from their last Komara album now, and that's what you'll hear, and you'll hear it play out at the end of the song. But you can find David in all of his endeavors. As I said, he's scored and done soundtracks for 18 films. He's done tons of collaborations. He's won tons of awards, and he's taking music and guitar to a whole new place, which is pretty fucking incredible in 2023, right? Go to davidkollar.com for all of your David Kollar needs. And this, without further ado, is me and David Kollar chatting it up. Let's get down.
Yeah. Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How do you say your last name real quick? How do you pronounce it?
Last day?
Your last name? How do you pronounce your last name?
David Kollar.
Kollar.
David
Okay.
Kollar.
Kollar. Okay.
Kollar.
All right. Just making sure. You never know, man. Hey,
Yeah.
so you're in Pat Mastelotto's studio right now. Are you guys recording a new Komara album? Is that what's going on?
Let's see. You know, we are improvising every day from morning until midnight, and let's see what it will be. I don't know. Maybe Komara. Some improvisations looks like something different, and some improvisations looks like it can be Komara. I don't know yet. I need to, tomorrow is the last day of our recording sessions, and I need to go home and open all these projects in my laptop after 6 months, and let's see what will happen? We need to cut it and build the concept. I'm thinking about the book of Hermann Hesse called Siddhartha, to have a concept of Far East, rhythm, percussion stuff, and some guitars, and maybe some vocal there. I don't know. We are improvising and recording everything.
Yeah.
I hope you understand.
Yeah. Hang on just 1 second, okay? Hang on. Sorry about that. My heater turned on.
Okay.
I first of all, Deborah and Pat reached out and they were like, "Hey, this guy's coming to town. You want to have him on the podcast?" And I was like, "Sure." I figured anyone they'd be working with anyone working with Pat must be worth having on. Then he sent me your stuff, man, and I've been going through your music for the last few days, and you're such a singularly unique musician that to say that you are any kind, it's so weird because we just had the passing of Jeff Beck, who is like this very innovative guitar player, but he is innovative within these parameters, right? Within jazz, rock, and sort of like a fusion kind of vibe. But there's no, your thing is just taking this instrument and pushing it further musically to the point where there is no genre to what you're doing. It is just music that is happening.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're fucking amazing. I don't think I've in the 1,200 episodes I've done of this show, I don't think I've ever talked to somebody this forward thinking ever artistically.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is my. I like painters, and what I'm trying to do with my music is like a painting. But I don't want to say. I don't mean the cliche. Like you painting and this is music, and you can see some painting, and you can explain also Jeff Beck record that. Look at this music and look at Picasso painting. There is connection, but I'm in technique how you can paint. So I like to make some samples of myself. Like you have a pentimento technique that you paint something. I don't know. I have a book here. You paint this, and then you overpaint it here and there with something else, but you still can see all the parts of the painting before. You know what? You understand? And I like to do this with the music, and also with the guitar. When I play or I'm making music, I'm trying to avoid what is cliche for me, and I don't have structures of the songs like in my music, like A B part, then chorus, then again B part.
Right.
And I must say that I have very good musicians around me, like Pat here, or Norwegian trumpet player Arve Henriksen, who is unbelievable, great innovator.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I was just very quickly that there's a record that people can find out there, because I'm sure, like me, there's a lot of people that listen to this show. This is the first time they're ever hearing of you, and to kind of get an idea. This record that you did with him, A Sense of Destiny, that came out last year. Beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah. I had the COVID. I was a really hard COVID. I was in my studio in quarantine because I didn't want to infect my family. And I started to make little musical sketches every night. So 10 days, 10 tracks. Finally, there are 12 tracks. But... and then I have sent them to Arve Henriksen. And what he did is like he used the guitar from the first track and he connected with the guitar from the third track and he played trumpet over it. And I wanted to build a story. And this is my main goal still, when also with Pat here, what we are doing now. I'm trying to build a story about Siddhartha,
The Herman Hesse
character
book?
from Herman Hesse.
Yeah.
I'm trying, and I need a concept all the time. That's why I make music for the films, because there is a story, so I can tell my story. Explain some story. And in film music, you don't have structure. I mean, you can have 15 seconds long track. You can have 15 minutes long track, and this is what I love. And if you are talking about the Sense of Destiny album, my grandfather passed last year. My grandmother passed last year.
Sorry.
So thank you. And this album is, it's for them. And there is a story. And the first track called Alma in the Silhouette of Hope. Yeah, it's a 5 years old daughter of my friend, and she died too, unexpectedly. She just died at home. So it's not depressive album. There is no depression. I hope, maybe melancholy.
There is a little melancholy on there.
Yeah, I love melancholy. It's you can say a lot. For me and with Pat, we are still joking in the car that we will make a country band. I told him there will be only minor chords, no major chords, or diminished chords.
Yeah. The impending sense of doom.
And he said, and it will be in 5 or in 7, So, but I have other albums with Aro Hendrix, and this is the last one.
Right.
Yeah, and it's still a journey to make album like this. It can be done like you wake up on Monday and let's make an album. It must, it must come by itself, and I just feel it's time to make a new record with Hendrix. And the last one is Unexpected Isolation, when we were in COVID, era, and we worked really hard to explain ourselves in the music. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your first question, but I am surrounded by very good musicians like Arve Hendriksen, or French trumpet player Eric Truffaz, or guitarist Christian Fenes. He worked a lot with Richie Sakamoto, the film music composer, and he had a duo with Mike Patton from Fade No More.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of great guys are around me. So I feel free to be myself, and I don't make compromises in the music.
No, that's very obvious. There's no. Just to give you a sense of where I'm coming from, I'm like a pop and rock guy. You know what I mean? Like I have 3-minute songs, 4-minute songs. Have one that's maybe 4.5 minutes long. So getting to see that, like the freedom in which you live, like when you're making this music, there is a sense of freedom in it, like the improvisation. You know what I mean? Like that sense of freedom is palpable in the music. Like it comes through very strongly.
Yeah.
There was there was a video, Crime on the Bunny. There's a guy, Joseph Reagan. Is that the drummer?
Yeah, he's from Slovakia, drama. Yeah.
Dude, that jam was killer. And getting to watch you work like on the spot. Like, obviously, like you, it's good to hear that you take this stuff and you're cutting it up even after you improvise it, and you put things different together as you sort of hear them. It seems like not only are you a master of your own instrument, but also like of technology and how to use it in an impractical way to keep moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With your vision.
Yeah. The laptop is also part of my instrument, so Ableton Live software and Logic Pro, these are part of my instrument. So, and the video with Josef Ragan drummer is the album called Crime on the Bunny.
Yeah.
And originally there is a Pat drumming on this record. I did it in COVID. I was, when they let us go out from our flats in quarantine, from quarantine, I think in the middle of COVID era, I went out and I saw this rabbit. It is on the picture, lying on the road, alone. So I was thinking, like, maybe I can make a record about this rabbit here, lying on the road, So I went to the studio and I started to make some weird stuff. And I asked Pat if he can send me some of his drums. So he sent me some improvising stuff, and I just cut it and loaded there. And later I decided in COVID, because I could play only with Slovakia, and in Slovakia it was difficult to bring musicians from Norway because of all the restrictions at the airports, and yeah, and tests, COVID tests. So I did it with the Slovakian drummer Jozef Raga, maybe 4 or 5 gigs, only for cameras, no people there. Yeah, it was hell. So yeah, this is I have 2 parts, music parts. One is rhythmic. One part is rhythmical and heavy, and another is very quiet, philosophical, and silent, ambient. I play acoustic guitars, and then I have this heavy part. This is what is happening here in Pat's studio, that we have some really heavy tracks, improvisations, and then I play only acoustic guitar, Yeah. So I just found myself in spontaneous. Yeah, the best. I feel comfortable when I can do spontaneous compositions. That's why I love Russian film director Andrei Tarkovsky. His name is written on my guitar. I don't have a guitar here. Oh. He died in 1994 maybe. And for me, he's the biggest inspiration, Andrei Tarkovsky.
Okay.
And he was very intuitive film director as well. If you find his film Stalker is written on my guitar, but in Russian language. Yeah, now it's not good because Russia
right.
is fighting in Ukraine, but art has nothing to do with this. And and he passed away, I think, in 1991 or 1994. And of course, he was one of the most artists who left Russia. Like Igor Stravinsky and and many others. They just left this country. So he was one of them. He died in Paris, and his testament was about, like, please don't send my body back to Russia. I want to be buried in Paris, now in the bad country,
Yeah.
I love him. So yeah.
So you were born in Slovakia?
Yeah, I was born in Slovakia.
Okay. What did your parents do? What kind of work did they do?
Yeah, my father is a bass player in a local rock band.
Okay.
They don't play their own stuff. They play
covers.
Deep Purple, covers Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and stuff like this. My grandfather, who passed away, he was a trumpet player.
Okay.
He was a boss of trumpet brass band in the village. Folk brass songs, and I didn't know that I have other members in the family until he died. That they play in orchestra. So there are some musicians in my blood.
So there was music in your house growing up.
Yeah, I was born with Bon Jovi, and Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
I am from post-communism country, so everything was illegal. All these Iron Maiden and Deep Purple. It was really, we had just local bands. Like, you can find a lot from Prague, from Czech Republic. They just changed the lyrics, but the music is Ozzy Osbourne or Deep Purple.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this was communism. And I was 6 when the revolution happened. So I lived in that time. So I'm lucky because maybe if it's still communism, I am playing in the wedding band or Bon Jovi fake band, So luckily, yeah. Also, King Crimson played in my town in 1996. I was 13, but I was playing with my friends outside. We played football,
Right.
I played on guitar, Nirvana on acoustic guitar, and later I found King Crimson, and I was like, yeah, they played in my town. And then I started to play with Pat, and I invited him to my town, to Slovakia.
Yeah.
I showed him the place where they played with King Crimson in 1996. So, yeah, it was life-changing when I met him, and we can work together.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's always an exciting thing when a person goes from being like an idol of yours to a colleague.
Yeah, and for us from Eastern Europe, English is not my mother language, so it's difficult. There are no musicians who are here. You can call them, hey, my friend, Slovakian friend, you are close to King Crimson guys. Can you introduce me to them? Nobody, So it's really heavy. King Crimson project played in Warsaw, in Poland, the capital town of Poland, Warsaw.
Warsaw.
And I asked my Italian, Warsaw, and I asked my Italian friend Lorenzo Feliciati if he can ask Pat Mastelotto if I can meet him in the dressing room, hopefully after the concert. So he organized it, and I went there by car, maybe 8 or 9 hours long drive, and I met Pat. I gave him my album, The Sun, and I asked him, Pat, can we maybe play together sometimes? No, I'm busy, I don't think so, blah, blah, blah. And then later, probably he listened to the CD, or I don't know, he just texted me that I can go to your country and we can make a band. So it's supposed to be a duo, me and him. And then I found the Italian trumpet player, Paolo Raineri, who is he's not a typical trumpet player. He's more to metal and rock stuff. So we made Komara, K-O, Kollar, M-A, Mastelotto, R-A, Raineri. So, yeah, we played some tours in the beginning, but I still felt like it's a dream, and I am not enough good to play with Pat. It was really, I went through really bad moments. I didn't play well, and I learned a lot, but I really had very bad feelings about myself that he's from King Crimson. We are on the stage. I don't want to sound like Adrian Belew. I don't want to sound like Robert Fripp. I don't want to sound like David Thorne. So how can I sound? So maybe this was the at this time I started to think more about my own musical language. Don't be Adrian Belew. Don't be Robert Fripp. Don't be David Thorne. I went back to films and I started to make film music on guitars. So all the lawyers, because I made music for low-cost films, so you need cello, but you have baritone guitar. So I bought the guitar to make some kind of cello sound. And I didn't know how, but I developed a lot of my own sounds and, maybe musical language, hopefully.
You definitely did. I mean, like, I'm not like a scholar of every kind of music ever made, but I'm like 54 years old and I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I love music. And I've just never, I literally have never, I just had Eric Johnson on the show a few months ago, and somebody like that is innovative, but even he lives within these parameters. That's the thing about you. There's no parameters. There's no, like, the guitar doesn't have to sound like the song doesn't have to have any kind of certain structure. There's just no parameters, and you're just going forward.
Yeah, and then Steven Wilson called me, and I recorded the jazzy prog rock guitar solo for him.
Is that the thing that's on your Facebook? There was a video
Yeah,
that had a
the-
solo on there. It's a pretty wicked fucking solo too, by the way.
Yeah, you mean solo?
There's something you
yeah,
posted on Facebook recently that was from a video, and it was your guitar solo in someone else's song.
Yeah, no. This is a young band from Slovakia. But there is. Do you know Steven Wilson? Do you know Porcupine Tree Band?
No.
Yeah, they are really big in Europe, and Steven Wilson is. I recorded solo for him in 2019 maybe, or 2017, and I recorded another one for his upcoming album, and his project No Man. He asked me to record a really strange guitar solo, so I will send you links.
Yeah, I do.
Steven Wilson, he's now maybe the biggest prog rock star.
Okay.
So I can go from this world, like you can hear on the Sense of Destiny album,
Yeah.
to prog rock guys, and but it's still myself. These solos are not maybe typical guitar solos.
No.
I will send you links,
Yeah.
and I used a lot of technology, and it's difficult to repeat this solo again.
Yeah.
I will send you links about Steven Wilson.
Okay.
And he toured in America, I think last year, with his band Porcupine Tree.
Okay.
You will like it.
Okay.
Porcupine Tree. They had come back after 10 years.
Okay. Let me ask you this. When you started playing guitar, who were your idols? Who were you looking up to? Because you don't seem like a guy that grew up like listening to Clapton or something. You know what I mean? Nothing against Clapton.
Yeah, maybe the first one was Nirvana band. You know, we played unplugged everywhere. You know, when I was kid, like 12, I went out to see my friends. Everybody had a guitar, and everybody played Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah.
You know, Metallica.
Yeah.
But just the beginning, you know, the empty open strings part, that it was difficult. And and Nirvana, you know. And then I found Gary Moore, guitar player. Yeah, I loved his power. He played blues, but it was very powerful one.
Yeah.
I loved him a lot. And then it was John Petrucci, you know, from Dream Theater.
He was in the.
And then I saw.
Wait. Oh no! Oh, I was thinking of something else.
14.
John Petrucci from Dream Theater. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And then I found a good teacher in my country. He's famous guitar player there, Andrei Sheban, and he showed me King Crimson. He showed me Miles Davis. And then I found, you know, John Scofield, Ruben Ford.
Yeah.
And later Adrian Belew and Robert Fripp. And I felt that rock music is not for me. I mean, I love it. I love to play it.
Sure.
But I feel more comfortable in dark music. Let's say like King Crimson. And but with mix of John Scofield sound on the guitar, you know, to play these jazzy phrases here and there, chromatism, you know. And I learned some licks of Miles Davis trumpet from Kind of Blue or other records. I wanted to go somewhere else, but I didn't. It was not my decision. I just did it, you know. I just liked trumpet players. And what else? Yeah, and then I was crazy about Adrian Belew, but I didn't understand how he did all the stuff with the guitar, because in my country to buy a fuzz or looper was impossible. So and then I found Norwegian guitarist Eivind Arseth.
Okay.
I will type it for you.
Okay.
And he completely changed my life. The Norwegians are now maybe the best in the world with originality. If you hear Norwegian jazz, unbelievable, and rock. it's unbelievable. Yeah, no compromises there. And Avant Arset was for me like modern Jimi Hendrix, like Jimi Hendrix from 21st century. And so what I did, I sent him an email if I can go to Oslo and have a workshop with him or something like that. I paid my flight ticket. I went to Oslo. I spent 2 days with him, and I went back home, and I was inspired for next year. So, and he told me one thing, that Norwegian musicians were very successful also in world jazz scene. And he said they never sounded like Americans, like American jazz, like doo-wop, you know, or the Miles Davis, you know.
Right.
If you hear Norwegian jazz, you can see fjords.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, it's very dark. It's slow, you know, and they use a lot of live sampling stuff. And so there is a guy who is sampling live, trumpet player, drummer, bass player, and he is sending it back to them so they can hear it, or also audience can hear it. It's unbelievable. It's so creative, and for me it's a big inspiration. So yeah, he changed my life, Avant Arset. So I started with Gary Moore, then I went to John Petrucci, you know, because I liked power and unisonos with the drummer. And then I found King Crimson and Adrian Belew. I must say that this changed me as well. And then Avant Arset, Norwegian guy.
Yeah. I'm going to check out some of that Norwegian jazz, man.
Yeah, I will write it down now.
It's exciting.
You can see some. Yeah. Wind.
So
they are supported very well. You know, the state takes care of culture. Here is his name. Maybe, can you read it?
Yes.
Avant Arset. Yeah, and that's how I found Arve Henriksen, because they played together.
Okay. Awesome. So let me ask you this: what is your choice electric guitar? Like, what's your go-to electric guitar? What model? What make?
Yeah, it's a Slovakian one. It's a mix of Fender Jaguar and Fender Jazzmaster. Mm-hmm. But I asked the guy if he can put there just a simple color. Yeah. Because, you know, when I have Fender Strat, I sound like David Gilmour. This guitar pushed me to play like David Gilmour or Eric Clapton, you know. So I wanted something really strange to find a David Kollar on it, you know. That's why I have this. The name of the guitar is Sivchak. He's really famous in our area. Famous bass guitar maker. And I have the Andrei Tarkovsky. AT means Andrei Tarkovsky and Stalker in Russian Azbuka. It's the best feeling in my life. It's very philosophical story. So this is written on this guitar. So yeah, I have a piezo here. Here is piezo on my guitar. Build it here. So you can drum on it if you want, and it's really it has really fat sound. Yes, or you can have a sort of acoustic guitar, little bit mixed with the normal guitar pickup. Oh, cool. So, yeah. But last 2 years I played mostly on acoustic baritone guitar with bow. I found some special techniques and orchestrations for baritone guitar. You can hear them on my album Unexpected Isolation. Okay. And like 6 layers of baritone guitars. And you can hear them a lot on the record. So yeah, I have C-Chuck. It's dropped down in D. And mostly I also play a bass. I have whammy pedal, you know. Oh yeah. I can switch it 1 octave down. Yeah. Also, I did a lot of bass lines with Pat here from Saturday. I don't know what day is today. Thursday, Wednesday. Yeah, let's say last 4 days. We are here from the morning, really. And I have recorded a bunch of bass lines as well. So on electric guitar, with whammy pedal. So yeah, and I have a Ron Rocco. Do you know Ron Rocco? It's a little instrument from Argentina. Yeah, and I must say my another big idol was Gustavo Santaolalla. He is, he made the music to Babel film, Amores Perros. Yeah, he used Ron Rocco a lot. So, yeah, I have one at home.
Nice.
So, I have kind of guitar technique. So I'm still looking for string instruments and in different tuning. And I never learned how to play chords on those instruments. I just play from scratch and finding music there,
discovering it. Yeah. Yeah, as a songwriter, I love to pick up some instrument I don't know, and that's informs the creativity in a way that you don't. It's like a blind person or something. It's fun.
Yeah. But you have technique, but you can play. But the same is with mandolin, or you play, and I don't know what chord is this, but if I move here, I like it. Yeah, and you can make a simple fragment of a music, which I can loop or put here and there, and then I can play over it on normal guitar, So this is how I work.
Such an interesting approach, the way that you do that. I'm really it's really inspiring getting to talk to you about all this stuff. I think if people get a chance, man, there is there's like a playlist of your music made by Spotify, I guess, on your Spotify page. It's called This is David Kollar.
Yeah. You can find also my Bandcamp. There are maybe more than 40 releases.
Jesus.
I have, and sometimes I release also soundtrack, music score.
That's what I was going to say. Is in your Spotify. That's where I went and looked at stuff. There was a whole lot of soundtrack stuff, and it's all beautiful and amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Every soundtrack was low cost, so Slovakia is not Hollywood, so you have to do for a few bucks everything, everything, really everything. So, but it pushed me to make new music, so. Yeah. I'm happy.
Well,
and
no, go ahead.
Yeah. A year ago, last January, I was in Los Angeles with the guitarist Rick Cox. He was a guitarist of a trumpet player John Hassel. Mm-hmm. And John Hassel is a big inspiration for me as well. A trumpet player, and he's the way how he created music. He died a year ago, and I was lucky because I played a tour in Europe in September with Rick Cox. So how he used Ableton live was completely new for me, and I'm inspired until now. And we use some samples from my tour with Rick here in the studio, and Paddy's drumming over these samples.
Cool.
Yeah. So I must say also the name Rick Cox from Los Angeles. On Saturday, I will fly to Los Angeles, and I will be with him in his house. And last January, he took me to Thomas Newman, film music composer. You know Thomas Newman?
No.
Yeah, he made the music for Shawshank Redemption, James Bond Skyfall, James Bond
cool.
Spectre.
Wow, okay, wow.
Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, Road to Perdition. He's really a heavy composer. So I was there in his studio, and we improvised for 2 hours. Me, Rig, and Tom Newman, because Rig is his guitar player since 1983. Wow. I didn't know that. There is a new film. I think the name is Man Called Otto.
Uh-huh. Oh,
is in the cinemas in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, and music is made by Tom Newman.
Wow.
Thomas Newman.
I'm gonna look him up, man. Well, man, this has been amazing talking to you. And people can find you at davidkollar.com. Obviously, going to the Bandcamp. I'll put links to that stuff in the text of the podcast when it comes out. But it's been a real pleasure talking to you and getting to meet you.
Thank you, and also send me some of your music.
I'm embarrassed, man. It's just music. I mean, it's just rock music.
Never mind. Yeah, it's just good and bad music. That's all.
That's true. That's right. That's exactly right. There's only two kinds of music: good and bad.
I have also Substack. You know what it is? Substack. It's a page where I share diaries. Yeah, I released 2 books. I share diaries from my musical journey.
Wow.
And finally, 95% of my fans don't live in Slovakia or Czech Republic, so because we were Czechoslovakia and we split in 1993. So I started to translate my diaries slowly to Substack, substack.davidkollar.com. And, I use only Google Translator or DeepL Translator. So maybe the English is not very good there, but you can really see what I have on the table and what is in my mind, what I'm thinking of. And, also I will share my diaries from this recording with Pat Mastelotto later. First, I need to write it in Slovak, share it in my country, and then when I have free day, hardly I'm translating them to English because English is not my mother language. I speak Slovak. It's a Slavic language, and it has completely different construction than English, So I still need some days to get to English. I'm still thinking Slovak and speaking English, And my vocabulary is not that big like in my mother language. So I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, no, totally. I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as I said, man, this has really been a pleasure. People can get out there, substack.davidkollar.com. Get involved with that. I'll put links to the Bandcamp, links to his website. And this has been a real pleasure, man.
Thank you. And send me your music to my email. My email is davidkollar.com.
David
at this guy.
davidkollar.com. Okay.
Yeah. And send me some stuff. Also, when you will share this
I will totally
interview.
Yes. I'll share the links with you and everything.
Yeah. Also, I'm looking forward to hear your older podcast with Eric Johnson. Yeah, I love him. I love his triads. Stuff.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat. Well, dude, it's been great talk. Please tell Pat and Deborah I said hello and thank you for introducing us. This is a real pleasure to get to meet you.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
David.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Yeah. Bye. Ciao.
That was David Kollar. Go to davidkollar.com. Find out more about him. Go listen to his many, many different projects. What an interesting cat, man. He's got a great Bandcamp you can get into. davidkollar.com. Great dude. Want to thank Pat and Deborah for setting that up. Also, I want to thank Mitch from Ocean Alley. What a great conversation that was, man. This was an international episode of How Did I Get Here? Slovakian guitar players, Australian yacht rock bands. It was all happening. And gang, don't forget when you're out there checking out davidkollar.com or oceanalley.com.au, you can subscribe to this podcast wherever you find podcasts, be it Apple Podcast, Spotify, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, any of those places. New shows every Tuesday and every Friday. We're going to be dropping those From the Vault episodes more often. They're coming. Check them on Saturdays around midnight. They'll drop a little From the Vault. All right? Here's some more music from David Kollar and his collaboration with Pat Mastelotto, Komara. All right? Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. I hope your power's back on. Stay warm. Stay cool.